So this video is going to show all of our roux-based mother sauces, all three of them. So we're going to start off by making a roux. In this pan I've got butter melting, and I'm going to add an equal amount of flour. So I think I had 3 ounces of butter, and I'm adding about 3 ounces of flour, so it's equal amount by weight. And I'm going to stir that around, and it's very quickly going to become what we call a light or a blonde roux. It starts off as a white roux, and then if you cook it for a minute or two, becomes a blonde roux. So we're going to stir that around for a little bit, and then I'm going to take and keep stirring that. And it takes just a minute or so to make that. I'm going to take half of that out and keep cooking the rest. And we're going to make a dark roux. We're going to use that for our first sauce that we're going to make, which is going to be Espanol, or brown gravy. So for that we need a nice dark roux. So I'm cooking just half of the roux that I had down to that, and I got the rest of it put to the side. We'll use that later. So I got my brown roux, and we're all ready to go. With that brown roux in the pan, in this cup I got some brown stock. Happens to be brown beef stock, and I already heated it up. So this will come together real quick. I'm adding just a little bit at a time, and you're going to see all three of these sauces go together exactly the same way. It's just a matter of what kind of roux are you using and what kind of liquid are you using. So I'm adding the stock just a little bit at a time. That helps to keep me from having any lumps. And I'm going to keep it moving. I'm whisking really carefully because I don't want to screw up my nice nonstick pan with that metal whisk. But you'll see I'm going to go very quickly from having this thin, watery liquid, and you're going to see once it's all in there, as soon as it comes to a boil, it gets nice and thick and becomes kind of a beautiful texture. So I'm going to stir that up, and then once it comes to a boil, we'll be all set. I'm going to get that whisk out of there. I'm going to trade that over for a rubber spatula. Like I said, it's a little easier on the nonstick pan. And that'll very quickly come to a boil, and we'll be all set. We have our Espanol sauce. This is a brown gravy, so it's really nice over like roasted meats, stuff like that. If you ever have roast beef, it's great. Next one, velouté, white gravy. So this has the light roux that we started off with. This is the stuff I took out of the pan earlier, and I'm going to use white stock. It's kind of dark in color, but that is a white stock, trust me, I made it. So I got my roux nice and hot, and I'm going to add, just like we did before with the Espanol sauce, I'm going to add my stock just a little bit at a time, stirring all the time. That'll keep you from having lumps, basically just thinning the roux out a little at a time, a little at a time. So keep it over medium heat. It will burn really quick, so be careful with that. And I'm going to add just a little bit of the stock at a time, whisking all the time, and you get a nice smooth sauce. I should mention I'm using this little frying pan because it's easier to film in there, but at home you'll probably want to use a pot with higher sides. It'll stop you from shooting sauce all over the stove. A little bit of seasoning, salt and pepper. I'm going to add that into all of these sauces. And then, just like the other one, once this comes to a boil and everything's in there, it's all set to go. I'm going to take the last second and whisk that up, make sure I don't have any lumps, get the whisk out of there, and again I'm going to use the rubber spatula just to make sure I can get it all out of the pan. So now it's nice and thick. I'll check that out one last time, and you'll see on the back of the spoon it coats it really nicely. I'm going to run my finger across it so you'll see how thick it is, just like that. Ooh, that's hot. Give it a taste. Tastes wonderful, and we're good to go. Last one, bechamel cream sauce, exactly like the other two. We're using light roux, and to that I'm going to add milk that I've already got heated up. So that's what's in that little container. I'm going to stir around the roux once it's hot, and then a little at a time I'm just thinning it out. This white cream sauce, super helpful. Really, really useful stuff. I cannot even tell you how many things this is used for. It's not just a sauce. It's good for all kinds of stuff. It's the basis of all kinds of soups. If you like broccoli and cheddar soup, it's basically just white cream sauce with broccoli and cheese in it. So that's the basis of things like that. Of mac and cheese, you can use it for an awful lot of things that we don't even have time to explain right now. But just the same as the other one, we're just slowly adding the hot milk to that light roux, stirring the whole time just to make sure it's nice and smooth, because it will get lumps, and lumps are no fun. So you want to make sure to keep it moving the whole time it's on the stove until you get all the milk in there. And then that's it. I'm going to stir that up for another minute or so, add the last of the milk, and we're all good. Make sure I don't have any lumps. Again, turn the heat off because it'll burn really easy, so you don't want to leave that unattended. Get the whisk out of there, and we're all set. Just like the other ones, we'll check it out. You see it's got nice and thick. It holds a line on the back of a spoon. Tastes wonderful. And that's it. Needs a little bit of pepper. Probably get a little bit of salt in there too. Okay. I'm going to put that container on there. We'll empty out the pan. That stove cools off really quick. Do not try that on a stove at home. So we'll empty out the pan, and that's our bechamel. White gravy. Or white cream sauce, I should say. Once again, there's all our three sauces: bechamel, velouté, and espagnole, the brown gravy. And those are your roux-based mother sauces: bechamel, espagnole, and velouté.